What do you say, everybody? Welcome to Elephant in the Room, part of Roll Tide Pod's Disrupt the Media. Our show is brought to you by Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com. He's got that bowl challenge up there right now, and you get those picks at Lance's Lock. If he doesn't give you a winning bowl season, it's free. So you're going to win either way. And while you're doing that, don't forget that the show is presented by MyBuc-ee, mybookie.ag. You can go there with the code next round and up to $1,000, 50% price match when you make your initial wager. And there's a lot of stuff to get into. Bowl season, the NFL. Who would have saw the Ravens just go into San Francisco and smack around the 49ers like they did the other day, right? Saw Marlon Humphrey had an interception in the game. Yeah. Former Bama guy, right?
Yeah, you were probably pretty happy.
I was pretty happy, yeah. And so all of that at MyBuc-ee and mybookie.ag. He's Jake Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie, and here we go, man. The holiday edition. Merry Christmas. How'd Christmas go?
Man, it was good. It was good. A lot of all the family Christmases are pretty much wrapped up. Got one more to go, and excited to my dad and stepmom both fighting the flu, so
oh boy,
gonna get together when that's done. But man, I'm glad it's game week finally. I mean, we got Virginia Tech, Tulane playing in the background. Not a bad game, but I'm ready for the real ones to start. The main thing I've watched in terms of football since bowl season started was that South Alabama Eastern Michigan fight after the game. So.
What did you think about that? Have you ever seen anything quite like that before?
No, I was talking to some buddies about that, and when it happened, I was like, I don't know what you do if you're Kane. I mean, you can't be mad. I was honestly proud of the way they reacted, jumping on that guy and just beating the hell out of him. I mean, did you see the cheap shot?
Oh, yeah, I watched it.
It was terrible. It was, in 26, and you're sitting there, he's like, is this guy really going to do this?
Yeah.
Is he really going to do this?
Somebody told me they were brothers in real life.
Really?
I don't know if that's true or not, but and then the one guy ran up and hit the other guy in the back of the head, and then
26, that was his brother that he was standing next to. I thought you were saying the guy who the offender was his brother.
Well, he threw that dude down so fast,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who would have thought that the Eastern Michigan South Alabama game would erupt in that type of a rivalry?
Good stuff. I love it from South, man.
All the humanity.
I always pull for Kane and South, but man, I tell you what, I might buy a jersey next year after seeing that.
So did you watch the game, or you just saw the replay of that part of it?
I saw the replay. I missed it. We had my little brother-in-law is getting married in the next year in March, so we had an engagement party. I didn't get to see it, but caught the highlights of the fight.
Well, there you go. Have you watched many of these bowls? This bowl season is kind of indicative of where college football is. They're all opt-outs. I mean, it's hard to know who's even playing anymore.
Who all is playing in the Georgia-Florida State game? Because all I hear is that everybody's opting out of that game as well.
I mean, it's
Florida State guys are opting out of it, which, you can say you're doing it for protest, but I mean, you'd think you'd want to prove that, you're better than Georgia.
I just don't understand how this happened. I mean, and I blame it all on what's the running back of the 49ers?
Christian McCaffrey.
He started all this.
Yep.
And it was like, I'm going to opt out for the NFL. You got guys opting out for the NFL. Like, how about Tua's brother opting out? Yeah. Where are you going? You don't even have any eligibility left.
Yeah.
You're opting out to go transfer, because you're not going to the NFL.
I mean, well, he might. I mean, who knows? But I mean, unless you're a shoe-in first rounder, I don't understand it at all. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, he kind of made sense, but.
Well, he did. I mean, he was like one of the first picks, right?
Yeah. But I can't imagine. Yeah, it's your last time to go play with your buddies. Once you're in the NFL, it's a completely different ball game. You're not with the same guys you've been with for years and lived with and shared those kind of memories with. I don't know. I've never had the first round thought in my head, so I never had to worry about it. But
wasn't something that you really had to concern yourself with, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Plus, all your games counted too, But these games do count, and you play week 1. Why wouldn't you want to play week 13? Yeah. I mean, like I don't get it. Or for some teams, week 14. But like I just loved playing games anyway, like the competition of it, like the fun of wearing a uniform and looking around and having kind of taken a journey with a group of guys, and the feeling that you had. I can't imagine being like, you know what, guys, F you, I'm out of here. I'm going to go over here and do some wind sprints and,
Those last 3 years we spent,
forget you.
In a locker room at the apartment, just hanging out, drinking a few beers, having a good time, and you're on your own in this game. It's hard to fathom, and again, I think a lot of it has to do with the cohesiveness of the team, and you don't see that as much in the programs. I mean, Alabama, like last year, I don't know if there was one single opt out.
There wasn't,
but it says a lot about the culture of the program.
Have we had opt outs? Because I don't remember any.
I don't either.
But when Nick Saban leaves,
Bryce Young had
he could have walked away. Yeah,
yeah. Him and Will Anderson, those were if you were to opt out, those would be the top two you could think of.
Yeah,
last year.
Right. The best one to me was watching Waddle when he didn't have to, and he just did, and all the NFL guys basically talking about how he shouldn't be there, and it's like, obviously you haven't been through the experience of playing for Nick Saban and what it means to be at this program.
Yeah, because
he's what it represents, man. Like, we're still talking about him and what he means to our culture.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I would have done it anywhere, but at Alabama, I mean, I could have broken every limb I had and still tried to bolt them together and go play.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it just it means so much there, and I talked about this before. I mean, when I go back to Tuscaloosa, I get to see all the trainers. Some of the coaches are still there, but a lot of the core people are still there that were there when I was playing, and I mean, I just can't even imagine. Again, for the first rounders, it's not quite turning your back, but the guys that are in the middle, to turn your back and walk away from that last experience, it's just unfathomable to me.
Well, look, what Bryce and those guys did was set this year's team up to do what they've done, where they did the most for Alabama without winning a national championship. Yeah, I mean, think about this year's team and the struggles that they have. Right, they had the struggles, and instead of packing it up and saying "F this," these guys, they buckled down, man, and they refused to give up. And and I don't think, I saw the post-game interview with Jalen Milroe, and he was talking about, I think they asked him this, but he was talking about when everyone gave up on him, he didn't give up on himself. And I'm thinking well, we didn't give up on you. I mean, I know we didn't give up on him in this room. There were some people in the media, but I had a show with Mike Johnson yesterday, and he was reminding me of the last time Joe Klatt had put us out of college football. It was your year.
It's every year we lose early.
Yeah, and he said he was
saying for a decade.
Yeah, right. And I know Joel's part of Disrupt the Meeting. I like him. Look, honestly, I do. I like him. I get it. That's part of his
Joel and Clay tirade again.
It's part of his shtick, right? Mike said that in 2015. After the Ole Miss game, he buried you guys, and he was like, "Yeah, a couple of years ago, I tweeted at him and Kiffin, and then it was like championship, Heisman Trophy winner, number one offense, And then I was like, didn't he say something about Milroe this year never being able to read offenses?
He said there's some serious unfixable problems.
Yeah, it's the funny thing about it is, how do you keep fucking it up so bad? And I like you. It's not even personal. It's not even personal, but how do you keep missing so much?
When Jim and Ryan and LT, when they get an affiliate, they're just like, so are you gonna have some shitty Alabama takes? yeah.
Bring them.
All right, come on. You're hired.
I guess remember that like the problems were fixable. So he was talking about Klatt. Klatt can't wait to dump dirt on the grave, you know.
Oh yeah,
there's like a group of them though.
Well, I think it must give the ratings a jump or something.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
but when you're wrong though, where's the accountability of it? You know, like once you make that statement where you're like, yeah, this guy's not going to be able to fix these problems. I mean, you said it, right? And like the next week, you're like, this guy's really good. Like,
you know, the funny thing is like when I watched Jalen last year, I was a little nervous because, I mean, basically what he did last year was run, and that's understandable, you know, for a guy that is getting his first few starts. But when and here's why I say this is when I walked into the spring game when Tua had graduated from high school early and enrolled early,
mm-hmm.
and I was walking through the tunnel, and I wasn't following recruiting at all. I mean, I had heard Tua's name, but he could have walked. I mean, we met one time, but you know, he's out on the field, and I see him throw an over route way before he's supposed to. I mean, way before he's supposed to, and just anticipating real well as he does right now. And he just moved up in the pocket, obviously had pocket awareness, really could anticipate. And I was standing there with Ellis Ponder. I was like, who the hell is that? And he was like, that's Tua. He just got here like 2 weeks ago. I was like, he's been here for 2 weeks. And I just saw that one play. I was like, holy hell. I mean, this guy can sling it around, and he's been here. He's not even a real freshman in high school.
Yeah. Even through the mistake, you knew.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could just tell he saw things very well. And when I saw Jalen have his first few starts last year, I was like, oh, man. You know, it's just run, and you're not sure, you know, if he's really going to fill the pocket and be able to dominate from that space. And then even the Middle Tennessee game, I was like, you know, still see. And then the Texas game, when I actually sat down and watched him against good competition, that's when I felt like he could be a pretty good player. And we talked about
you talked about it right away. Yeah.
Even through the mistakes, it's just seeing how they respond to certain looks and how they, you know, occupy the pocket. To me, that's how I look at it. But you know, that's the game that made me feel good about him. Feel like he had potential, you know. And now obviously he's shown he's more than capable of playing quarterback in Alabama.
So you didn't think that he was encourageable after that game?
I mean,
no, I know.
Joe Klatt thought that.
I know. I'm messing with you. I remember you coming in and we're doing the show.
Unfixable.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You know, like you ever watch the Babe Ruth story? And his parents like took him to like they took him to a boys' home, you know, right?
Yeah. Because
they thought he was incorrigible, right? Like you couldn't help him, you know. It turns out to be the best baseball player ever, right?
Yeah.
And so it was a joke, but yeah, I mean, like you did see it. I always wonder, like, and what do you look at when you're trying to evaluate someone's performance? Because sometimes when you're grading someone as a scout, it's not necessarily the outcome. A lot of times it's just other stuff that you see that eventually you feel like they'll figure the outcome out. But if they're doing other things, you know, that could be the way they're reading, it could be the way that they're throwing the ball. You know, you're talking about with Tua. So with Milroe, I mean, I'm sure there was some stuff there that you were probably thinking, hey, this guy's, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at him like at a camp, his measurables, I mean, the guy's off the charts, you know. But again, if a guy can't, I'm not going to say dominate, but
like with Buckner when he was throwing those like 5-yard passes in the ground. You're kind of concerned. Like,
I mean, if you don't have the measurables, but you can anticipate, get the ball to a guy in an accurate fashion, and he can run with the ball after the catch, then I mean, that's all you need, to win games at Alabama. Now, I mean, it's going to take a little more to win a championship, but I mean, Mac Jones doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not the physically biggest and strongest guy out there, but he is, as far in terms of being at Alabama, his performance at Alabama, I mean, to me, you can put him up there with anybody. You rarely saw a bad throw. You rarely saw anything not on time, and you rarely saw a bad read. I mean, what's going on with him now? We've talked about before, but I think that there's a lot more going on in New England than, people. Again, it's easy to blame the quarterback, but I think there's a lot more going on in New England than.
Got to have somebody to throw to, got to block. You need some running backs.
And I think after you have that, I mean, it's like Tua last year and the year before, or 2 years ago and the year before that, when he's got, what was the head coach's name? I can't remember, but he's gone now.
Flores.
Yeah, and now he's got a guy in there. You watch
love that guy.
Yeah, you watch the in-season Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
The way he talks and communicates with Tua and takes accountability and their team. And when you have a guy like that supporting you while playing quarterback, I mean, it can totally change your game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, we've talked about Randy Sanders when he was at Florida State. I mean, I've liked all my quarterbacks coaches, but when you get along with somebody and you can tell y'all are always on the same page.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I was with Randy. And I mean, I felt, again, like I had never felt that good about playing the quarterback position at any other time than with Coach Sanders at Florida State, because we just understood each other. Everything, when we communicated, everything made sense to me. And he was a mentor and a friend, I mean, just so much more than a football coach.
Yeah.
And that's what, if you want a quarterback to play at the highest level that he can play at, then the coach that gets along with that guy is key to that success.
Yeah. Yeah. He believed in you too. I mean, even when you were battling it out with Jameson Williams or Winston for the starting job,
man,
he talked about it.
I loved him to death.
Loved your arm.
Still do. He's, just a great guy. One of the guys you wish you could have as a coach and just have there to help you, throughout life. He's awesome.
When you look at J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback of Michigan, what do you see? And let me talk about him for a second. 25-1 as a starter.
In the Big Ten.
In the Big Ten, but still 25-1 is 25-1. I mean, runs the ball a little bit, kind of sneaky good running, didn't throw the ball a lot, but kind of looked like maybe he was hurt down the stretch. But still,
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
They still won the games. And then, but he seems to be like a really smart guy under center.
He's got all the tools. I mean, he's as talented as anybody in the country. And I've said this to a lot of people before. I mean, I think with some of these Big Ten teams and Pac-12 teams and these different conferences, I think when you the SEC benefits from the difficulty of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're playing games, they're just knock down, drag out fights the entire time, and you kind of get sharpened and used to that just beat down you're going to take. And so the intensity of those matchups carry you throughout the season. And by the time you get to the playoff, a hard-fought playoff game is just a regular season game.
Right.
And so I think it's almost kind of a shock factor. I mean, when Ohio State, Michigan, Washington, they come in and play Alabama or Georgia, or it's like a whole different level of competition that they're used to getting up for one time a year against Ohio State.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, Michigan, they've been building up for success for a long time, and maybe they are, just motivated and laser focused on this game, which I would imagine they are. But again, more times than not, when they get matched up against these physically dominant teams from the SEC, it's a little bit of a shock to them.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I think so. Michigan lost to Georgia. They lost to TCU in the first round of the college football playoff. A lot of these guys came back, to try to get back to this game against Alabama. And they played a weak schedule, but down the stretch, they had to win at Penn State, and then they had to beat Ohio State. So, I mean, they are coming off of, two of the best wins that they had. But I don't compare what they got in the Big Ten to the SEC at all.
No, and it's like we've mentioned on this podcast over and over again. The bottom half of the SEC is still the top half of most conferences across the country.
Yeah,
talent-wise. I mean, they could still be a nightmare as far as wins and losses go. I mean, Arkansas, they play in a different conference. They're going to a bowl game this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got as much talent and physicality as most teams across the board anywhere else.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I feel like that's a factor in this game. Zinter, the offensive lineman who was going to be a first-round pick, got injured in the Ohio State game. So, I mean, Michigan will be without one of their big offensive linemen. They have a really good defense, though. The defensive line's deep. And, I mean, I feel like they could, look, Milroe's going to get sacked. I mean, he does every game.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, he also makes big plays, too.
Yeah, as long as we don't beat ourselves, no bad snaps. God, thank God we were able to overcome that against Georgia.
How about against Auburn?
Yeah. I mean, if we just don't beat ourselves, I love our chances. I still hate that line at -2.5 for Michigan. Is it still -2.5?
It was 1 last time I looked, 1.5.
Yeah. Public's all over Alabama.
Yeah. That makes you nervous.
Yeah, it does. Hey, Vegas has bad lines too, you know.
There's got to be a reason why, though. I mean, maybe they're looking at the Georgia game like, hey, the Bama won because Bowers and McConkey were injured.
Yeah.
And they weren't 100%.
I just hope look, this is the last 2 games of the year. Jalen, let's not worry about getting hurt. Let's unleash
the dragon.
Oh, yeah. Like they've never seen before.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do.
Because I don't think they've seen a guy running back anybody in the Big Ten that can run like he can.
He's probably faster than anyone on their team, and that's not a shot at the Michigan team.
He's one of the faster guys at Alabama too.
Let's say that, like maybe Amari Kite's faster, or Cedric Law, or somebody's faster, but not many. Yeah.
And he's still bigger than most of the guys that are going to try to tackle him.
Yeah,
too.
Right. He's a freak when it comes to his ability to run. They're out there now. They got out there.
Yeah.
And what do you do when you go to these bowl games? Like, I know that it's changed a little bit since 2015, 16, right? But I mean, when you get out there, you're out there for the game's on Monday. So the team got out there yesterday. What the hell are you doing out there? Just practicing and stuff? What, you getting up at 6 a.m. to go practice?
You getting up kind of early, got meetings and practice and all that. And you got a little bit of a break in the afternoon time. It's, again, coaches can't control you forever, At some point it comes down to you and have an understanding of what's at stake and what sacrifice you want to make to win a game and build your career. So I've been on a few teams that made the most of their bowl week, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Probably had too much fun. But I know that last year I was there. Nobody was doing a damn thing outside of.
You guys were locked in.
Oh yeah, practicing and going back to the hotel. They had a big one of those big conference rooms. You know, I don't know how many square feet it was, but enough to have the whole team. And we had time off. We were just, you know, playing poker or playing a video game or, you know, doing whatever for 2 hours and then going to bed.
Yeah.
You know,
it's funny you said that. Jay Barker told me, and I've heard him talk about this a lot, you know, when they played in the 92 national championship game against Miami, they were big underdogs, and they go down there and they see the Hurricanes out at the casinos and having a good time. And they decided that that's not what they were there for.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they ended up distributing one of the most lopsided ass whoopings in underdog history. You know, like, it's one thing to be like a 16-point or 17-point underdog or whatever it is, but to go in there and just beat the hell out of somebody like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's still magical moments in that game, like Teague and Langham. And,
You know, it's
Copeland and Curry.
When we were in the Sugar Bowl in 2014, we had a little fun the first few nights, and usually, guys, I mean, it doesn't get out of hand or anything like that, but usually the first night everybody goes and has fun in the city, and then after that it's all business, you know. But it is pretty intimidating when you got a guy who you've seen go out and he's hungover for the game and he's still beating your ass.
Was that Oklahoma? Was that the Oklahoma game where we just got like we couldn't stop them?
That was the year I was at Florida State and we won the national championship. And yeah, I know. The reason I remember that game is because we watched it at the hotel.
Did you?
In 2013, and we were like, "What is going on?"
Yeah,
Trevor Knight had the game of his life.
Yeah. But you know, it was like when I talked to like Baron Huber and Mike Johnson and those guys about the 2008 Sugar Bowl. You know, like they were so disappointed that they lost to Florida. You know, Baron Huber had the was it like the rumble in the bayou? It was like the only good play of the entire game was like a short kickoff that he like busted loose for a second. Mike got hurt early. You know, he didn't have any offensive linemen. Lost to Utah. And it was kind of
I remember that game.
Yeah, I was there. I wasn't at the Oklahoma loss, but who did we play? Oh no, 2014 is when we lost to Ohio State. So that was the bowl game.
Yeah, there were three, but that was the last 3 times we had played in New Orleans.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It was those 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And I remember before that game, I guess they had just announced where we were playing because that was the first year of the playoff. And Austin Shepard was like, God, we found out. He's like, man, we're snake bit down there. He's like, you know, man, it's like Jordan-Air.
Yeah.
You know, I guess outside of this year.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
You have performances in certain games.
Yeah.
It's like inviting the same guy over and over again to an Alabama game, and you lose every time you watch it with him.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I have this really pimped out houndstooth coat, right? Like I wear it every once in a while. Big games. It's great. It's got it's vintage too. And you know, like I wore it to the national championship game against LSU, that one right there. And those Tiger fans, man, they talk a gang of shit, man. And they're just like, you know, you look stupid, you're cold. Talk about it, you know. Walking in, I'm just trying to mind my own business, looking good. And honestly, I had dealt with years of hearing them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then that day, you talk about national championship games where
you're
somebody
buying that print for sure.
Oh, dude, we sat 50-yard line, but in the upper deck in the dome. You know, watching Tim Brando high-fiving Tiger fans and stuff. And the walking out of that stadium and those loudmouths being that quiet. And they didn't talk again for a decade. They didn't have anything to talk about for 10 years. Like, you talk about just like year after year.
They burned the last Coach Saban effigy.
They got it was, and I enjoyed it. You know, I guess as Alabama fans, like, you know, or grads or whatever, like our whole thing is like, act like you've been there.
No, yeah.
You're supposed to be respectful to the opponent. We're not supposed to be over there, the people talking all the smack, you know. It's
well, I mean, you look at every stadium across the country.
Yeah.
I'd like to know the stat on this. The last time the field was rushed at every stadium across the country, because I bet you Bryant Denny is probably, it's got to be. I mean, has it ever been rushed?
No, because they tell you no. We've already won all the games. But think about this. Of all the stadiums that have been rushed over the last how many years?
Oh, Alabama's caused
us.
it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I bet you at least half of them have been. I mean,
imagine how embarrassing it'd be to rush the field if we beat Tennessee after.
Get back in your seat.
It's not that big a deal.
Can you imagine, like, trying to explain? Because
if I'm like 55 and my daughter's in college and she rushes say we beat Tennessee after a long drought, and Coach Saban's gone, and I mean, if I can only imagine, no telling what kind of social media and all that's going to be out then, but. If I was like sitting at the house and my daughter called me and said she just rushed the field after beating Tennessee, I'd be like, "You're coming home."
Yeah, we're not paying for another dime of
this. Come on back.
You obviously haven't gotten the proper education. No, I'm with you, man. I mean, like, that's kind of the whole deal. Is like, been there, done that, man, and it's like.
It shows.
Even when we stunk, they were rushing the field. But before it even got there, we lost to Kentucky with DuBose, and they're running them on the field.
Yeah, how can you even? How could you talk shit? Like, how do Tennessee fans, after you rush the field after beating us? Obviously, it means the world to you to beat Alabama. How can you talk shit to us? Because you basically just told us that you didn't expect to win.
I thought it was great to see that Tennessee fans had like Christmas ornaments commemorating last year's 52-40. I'm being serious. Like, people in people's homes would be like, you know, like, this different stuff, like T-shirts and pictures and stuff like that. And it was like,
Clay Travis has one of those, I'm sure.
Yeah, he does. My friend ran into him at Disney World last week. He said his son, he said he ran. He didn't even realize it. It was Clay. He said he walked by. He said, "Roll Tide" to this kid, and then he's like, "Oh, it's Clay." And so he knows Clay. Talked to him for a couple minutes. So living the life, man. Living the life. At least he's got one smart kid in there, you know.
That's right.
Little guys like, yeah. You guys just keep being Tennessee fans. He's like enjoying that Christmas ornament that Dad has.
He's seen his dad's takes on Alabama and understands.
His dad's sharing the heartbreak, man. Honestly, like, it's like being a Cubs fan. I'm a Cubs fan. I'll tell you, it's miserable.
What was it? 81 years? 82 years?
No, 107.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
were you at the game? What's his name? The guy caught the ball over Tuscaloosa.
No, I was watching it though. I was when I was in Alabama. I was watching it. I had a treadmill in I lived on the basement of this house on the corner of Caplewood and Reed Street. And it was like I paid $137. Phil Weaver, who owns Buffalo Phil's, owned the place, right? And it was, that included everything. It was a great deal until it rained, and then, and then the whole bottom, like on the real bad rains, I'd have like a foot of water in there. My dog would bark like,
oh my God.
Yeah. Those months I didn't pay rent. So I was like, I wonder if I'm going to get electrocuted right now. But yeah, so but it was actually like, I had a treadmill in there, and I was on the treadmill watching the game, And I'm like, this is our year, man. This is it. Like,
So you're a Cubs fan back then.
I was a Cubs fan since the 80s. And so I'm like, this finally, like, this is it, you know?
Yeah.
And then that Bartman, the guy's named Steve Bartman.
Yeah,
like he reached over
right.
and tried to catch the ball. So I don't know. I wouldn't want to. I mean, as much enjoyment as I do get out of Cubs baseball,
that would have been the game. That would have been over, right?
Well, it would have been the second out of the 8th inning with a big lead, and then he missed it. And then he stood over there and like threw his glove down, and then
I
and
remember.
then after that, everything fell apart, right? But on the bright side is when they did win the World Series, I got a ring. So maybe the ring wouldn't have been that special. If it had been the second ring, you know, I don't know, but it was hard. That was a heartbreaking loss. Like that was so hard to deal with. I didn't watch Sports Center, which is something that we all used to watch back then for months. Like I just couldn't deal with it. I couldn't see the Marlins. I didn't want to watch any of the Marlins World Series. I just, you know, you ever been there before? Like I hated baseball.
Yeah.
Right, I hated baseball. No, I mean, you know, Wrigley's great too. But what I'm saying is that Tennessee and the Cubs, like heartbreak city.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Cubs. Yeah, because I remember watching that game too. I just. What year was the Black Cat? Because that was
69.
Yeah, that was the moment where everybody was like, "Yeah, we're doomed." Right?
Yeah. Well, that's when we realized that we had a problem. So whatever we done wrong, we had done it wrong. You need one? You good over there?
Yeah, I'll take one.
You want one of these Christmas guys, or you want a
let me
Shiner?
whichever one you were talking about earlier.
Here, try this one. Yeah. I love Christmas beers. Try that right there.
All right. What's this? Fat Bottom, huh?
Yeah. Have you? How was your holiday?
It was good. I can't wait for this weekend. The big time getting the grill going. You know, finally, like we said earlier, just you got the game day vibes back. You forget until December when you got these, especially now. I mean, bowl games used to be so much better than they are now.
Yeah.
You forget how shitty bowl season is until you are just sitting around waiting on a good game to come on, and literally not one has been worth watching.
Yeah. Well, unless somebody sucker punches a guy at the end of the game.
Again.
Starts a brawl. No, I feel sorry for anyone that tries to handicap these games because you just don't know who's playing anymore.
Yeah. It's like week 1 of college football season again.
Yeah. And then you got teams that are going to have.
I don't feel sorry for Vegas at all. They've
gotten enough of your cash. What did you get for Christmas? Anything good?
Man, I got some grilling stuff.
Look at you, man.
You know,
you're domesticated now.
Oh yeah. Well, you know,
got me a new spatula. Grill cleaner.
I did.
That brush that cleans the grill. All that stuff's important, man. You're a green egg guy, aren't you?
No, I'm a Traeger guy.
Really? I've had you as a green egg guy.
No. You know, I get in this argument all the time. And it's gotten so bad we do a little grill off in the neighborhood, Traeger versus egg. And these the people that are green egg people, just they're like, oh, that's Traeger's not real. That's you're cooking in an oven, you just set it and forget it. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's the fucking point.
I don't want to stand out here with this thing.
I mean, who wants to get up, cooking a brisket and getting up at 1 a.m., 4 a.m., back up at 7 a.m. It's like, yeah, I want to just put it on there and not have to worry about a damn thing.
Though, shit does taste good on those green eggs. I don't have one.
Have you had something on Traeger?
I'm coming over. You tell me when. I'm coming. Like, I don't even know, honestly, and this is shame on me, but I know what a green egg looks like. I don't even know what a Traeger looks like. I'm gonna have to Google.
It's just like a black barrel, but
yeah. The black barrel thing. Yeah. Okay, I know those. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I got into my mom and stepdad used to take me out to San Antonio when I was little with all my brothers and sisters, and we'd eat Texas barbecue.
Oh, I love that.
And
stuff.
it's, Texas barbecue is on a whole nother level than anything around here. And,
whoa.
Oh, yeah, I said it.
Whoa.
I said it.
What about Tuscaloosa barbecue? You got to admit, Dreamland's pretty good.
Dreamland's hit or miss.
Dreamland sauce is delicious.
I'd rather have I make my own ribs and I use Dreamland sauce.
Okay, all right. I've been to Memphis,
but when
I used to live in North Carolina. I know about
oh yeah
barbecue.
But no, I mean barbecue when it's like somebody that can cook a brisket and knows what good brisket is, knows good barbecue.
I love brisket, but see, Baltimore does brisket too.
Do they really?
Yeah.
I feel like it's big in
Texas. It's in Texas too. Yeah. And it's like. I like it honestly because it's just personal preference, but pork just gives me a stomachache. Like and I like eating it, but I take a big risk. I'd say for me, if I eat pork, 1 out of every 10 times my stomach won't hurt. So the other 9, I'm like going to have a stomachache.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but so I love brisket. Like I like the
I
beef.
like pulled pork, but it's kind of just like, it's filler almost.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, it's good.
It's cheap.
It's good.
But I mean, it's a cheap meat. If you can buy it and it's not expensive.
That's right.
Beef's expensive.
But a brisket, like it takes, 12 to 15 hours and you cut it. I mean, it's just damn good.
It's like butter. Have you ever been to this gas station called Buc-ee's? I'm serious. You
get
go
the
in
brisket
there.
sandwich.
Oh man, like you go in there and it's like it actually gives me a stomachache too. But it's
Texas,
so good.
That's a Texas chain.
I know. I love Buc-ee's. Like I do.
Oh, it's great.
There's no other like.
I wish all gas stations were Buc-ee's.
Oh my!
I say that.
No, I do too. My cousin lives in Madison, Wisconsin, and he's like, "Oh, Circle K," and some other one. And I'm like, "Bro, you here?"
I wish gas
not
stations.
Even close.
Oh, I wish gas stations were either Buc-ee's or just like a small box with beer in it.
Have you ever been to Sheets?
Because I go to a gas station for 2 reasons: beer or the bathroom.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Buc-ee's does good with the bathroom. FYI.
Yeah. And you go to Buc-ee's, great bathrooms, and then you got all kinds of shit to buy too. If you're feeling a little crazy.
No, I'm with you, man.
But otherwise, I just want a tiny little hut that's got a few beer fridges in it. And then that's it.
Yeah, right. I'm going to be honest with you. It has to be a major emergency for me to go to the bathroom at a gas station, unless it's Buc-ee's, because the Buc-ee's has like a guy that's in there cleaning toilets the whole time. Like they never stop. Like they're just cleaning them. But if you go to like if I'm driving from here to Tuscaloosa and it's like I'm in Monroeville and I got to stop, it's not going to be pleasant. Look, you're not walking in there going, "This is a place I want to sit down for."
I've got a buddy who put me onto this. Now, when I if I got to go to the bathroom, stop at a hotel.
Yeah, I do that too. Or I was going to tell you that the other one's Cracker Barrel.
Really?
Yeah, you go in there and you're like, "Oh, this record, man. I was looking for some new vinyl. Or look at this can, and then you slide back in there, that little store, and then come back out." That's Buc-ee's is actually like it's a difference maker. Now we're covered in them in Alabama. We got one over here by us because we're down here in LA.
Yeah.
And
right there by the expressway exit.
That's it. We got one in Athens. We got one in Leeds.
And
3 Buc-ee's.
It's crazy how many people are in there all the time.
Oh, dude. They did this shirt. I wish I had one in here. They did this shirt of my call with a microphone. The Smokies did, right?
Uh-huh.
And some guy took a picture of someone wearing it at the Buc-ee's, and one in Tennessee, and he goes, "I saw someone wearing your shirt in the wild." Look, it was like, it's always Black Friday in Buc-ee's. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what's going to happen in there. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy the way that people love Buc-ee's.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, people, it's
insane. And it's got good stuff in there. I went Christmas shopping.
It's like a destination. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about destinations, have you ever stopped at south of the border in South Carolina before? Oh yeah, it's
where is it?
It's somewhere in South Carolina, but when we
south of the North Carolina border.
Yeah, but it was like this place that have like the same thing. It would have like all the signs and stuff, and then you would go in there, and it would have like fake poop and like tricks and stuff. It was just like you were in Mexico or something. Just like it was honestly like reminded me of when I went to Tijuana. When I was in San Diego, I was just like, hey, let's go to Tijuana. Like, go over there. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be back over there by sunset. Okay. It's at that border. There's like a lot of things over there that were kind of crazy and also some cool stuff,
Yeah.
Nothing that I needed to see after dark. Like, wow, this is Mexico. Okay. Interesting.
That's great.
Yeah, you ought to check it out. But I every time I see like Buc-ee's, and I went to the one when I went up for baseball winter meetings, I stopped at the one in Athens, Alabama, and I was like, man, this is cool, man. I like this one,
Athens, Alabama. I've never been there.
Yeah, had some.
But you went through Monroeville to go to Tuscaloosa?
No. I went through Athens. No.
But you were saying you stopped. You did mention that earlier. You said you went through Monroeville.
Isn't that how? Yeah. Don't you go up that way? Like it's like
no.
Which way do you go?
I was wondering which. That's why I'm trying to put together why you went that way. Because that's on 84. Anyway,
maybe close to that. Well, no,
Thomasville. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Thomasville.
That makes sense.
Thomaston.
Mm-hmm.
The Thomases, and then you're like, I make that trip so much because I'm at Innisfree for every Friday, every Friday home game. Yeah, for the show, my show.
Yeah, I got to make one of those.
Dude, you got to come, man.
Fridays next
and then
year.
And then we'll ride back together. Like, it's not even like you gotta, like, you'd be gone and do the show and hang. That's so much fun.
Oh yeah, I love that, man. That Trip and Nick, I love that crowd up there. Brings me back.
It does. like Trip's like the guy that's like holding on for all of us.
You know what I mean? You follow him on Instagram?
Yeah.
You see him in his, I think it was an elf costume and a cigar.
Yeah, I love it. Like, I don't know. Like he just I love going in there and hanging out, and it just gets, I'll tell you, man, that place gets so slammed on football games, like Fridays and Saturdays.
I went in there.
Unless I'm in a corner somewhere comfortable, I do get a little claustrophobic.
Yeah. Last year I went in there. They had the big booster golf tournament. They call it the celebrity golf tournament or whatever. And
were you one of the celebrities? I like that. Look at that.
I put it in quotes. In there.
See, that's where you're wrong, man. You got to be like, they had the celebrity golf tournament, like Rick Sutcliffe, and I was there. Get around Rick. Rick loves some Rick. I was like, okay. Of course you were.
Well, so we went in there, like we had the banquet the night before, and then when it closed down, I met Roman Harper. Yeah, this is last.
Oh, he was in there this year when I was there.
Was he?
Yeah, good guy. I didn't talk to him much, but
man, I love Roman.
Yeah, great analyst.
He is a great guy. Just a great guy.
Him and Cole Kublik shows. It's a good show on SEC.
Oh network. Yeah. I like Cole too.
So do I. It's hard to believe he's an Auburn guy.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold that against him.
mold.
No, he's just such a easy to watch, listen to,
he's
likable.
Far more
dude.
Intelligent than most.
Yeah, he is. Tip of cap to you, friend. Big compliment. He is great.
Man. No, he is. He is. No,
anyway,
we had that. We had a trip shut down Innisfree or the back part. And I went in there. Freddie Kitchens was in there, and Roman and Rashad Johnson. Man, it was so much fun.
I'd love to meet Freddie.
Just like I don't know. We just sat around and hung out, but nothing crazy. But it's so much fun to get there with those guys and listen to those stories.
Oh yeah,
I mean, just hard to beat. I don't know. You hang out with those guys that it's just it makes it fun playing in Alabama to go meet those guys and hang out with them and hear their stories and all doing special things. Pretty cool. I think Rashad's he's in Tampa now. I think he's the linebackers coach. And
is he
for the Buccaneers?
Good. He has a good career. Smart guy. You could always tell he was going to do something.
Oh yeah. Hey man, any walk on that earns a scholarship,
that's awesome.
Is a special individual.
Yes, at Alabama.
Oh yeah.
I had Tripp on the tailgate show, and I'm like, so tell me the most famous people that have been at Innisfree, right? Because this. I dressed up like future Morgan Wallen for Halloween 2 years ago, right? because the SNL had Morgan Wallen on there from when he got kicked off of SNL or uninvited, because he was at the Alabama-Tennessee game kissing girls during COVID.
Yeah.
And they all freaked out. And then so they did a skit when he eventually came, and Jason Bateman was future Morgan Wallen. So I'll show you I used to look like the guy. So that was my Halloween costume, right? So I asked him, I'm like, so, Morgan Wallen. He's like, Morgan Wallen was here. And he goes, he was here with Justin Thomas and, JT. I thought, he's like, people kept coming up and asking for pictures. And he thought that, like, he didn't know who Morgan Wallen was. Tripp.
So that was back when he was just coming on the scene.
I guess so. Yeah, 2020. So I said, well, who's the most famous person that's ever come in here? And I'm thinking, like, it's got to be big, if you come to Tuscaloosa.
Joe Namath, maybe.
Yeah, or somebody, right?
Yeah.
When he said Urkel, I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Do you know Urkel?
Like, wait, it's like the Steve Urkel? I wouldn't expect that either.
Urkel.
I think Tripp.
Did I do that? I was like, whoa. But I do like Urkel, man. I used to watch a lot of Urkel back in the day.
That was,
that's a long time ago.
That was like 90s fame.
It was. But when Urkel comes in,
Tripp's fame meter might be a little jacked up.
Yeah, right. Because I feel like I've seen,
but I also think he's probably a little, like he probably thinks of Justin Thomas as just like an Alabama grad, or there's so many people that graduated from Alabama that he's probably familiar with or knows that doesn't think of as very famous.
Yeah, right.
And so he doesn't even apply fame to those people.
No, he's just kind of, I've watched him work the room too. Like he's kind of like you just never see, he's never still, he's always like to the next person.
Oh yeah.
And that's how we need to be.
I know Kirk Herbstreit's been there.
I saw him there.
Yeah.
A long time ago. That's when I saw his aura.
I would say he's more famous than.
Yeah. I saw the aura that was around him. I was like, that guy's got an aura.
Yeah.
Like he was glowing. Back when it was the old Innisfree, not even the one where it is now, the old one.
Yeah.
I saw him and I saw that light that was around him. I was like, man.
I think I told you this. Innisfree, when I first got to Tuscaloosa, because I had never been there until I actually went to school there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, does that just mean there's no cover charge? Innisfree?
Oh, yeah. Always free. A lot of people will say Lane Kiffin's the most famous person. My sources tell me he was there a lot.
I think in Tripp's mind, probably the more you frequent Innisfree, the less famous you are.
Yeah, right. Why is this man in the kitchen? Get him out of here. Just kidding. I don't know. I love that place though on a game day. And I've actually, people hit me up and like, hey, I'm coming to town. And I'm like, come hang out. Like, come hang out, man. Come hang out. Like it's game days to me start Friday night. It is free because I'm there, and I've seen like the next round guys are there sometimes too.
It's the best bar in Tuscaloosa.
They do their show
by far.
Did mine.
Or best hangout spot, best whatever you want to call it.
I'm kind of like, when it comes to Innisfree, I'm a little protective of them because I feel like if they ever win, I don't think I would know anybody anymore. from back when I was bartending.
I'm the same way.
Because I bartended, and I know the same people were there.
Yeah, I didn't go anywhere else. That was
like those guys are still holding on.
I saw Purdy at Floribama. I guess it was 2 summers ago.
I tell you, like, people were like, "What are these guys talking about?" I did my show at Rounders, and then I'm COVID like shut down. I'm not doing baseball. One of my friends has a boat. We go out on a boat during COVID, so nothing's open. And it was before Hurricane Sally, and so we had a long day of boating. Okay, just put it like that. Yeah. We go to the Tiki Bar down there, and I walk in and I look across the bar, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's Tripp." So I, hey man,
was it a Floribama Yacht Club?
No, the Tiki Bar. It's like one of the It's like one of the marinas has like this giant tiki.
Hang on, are you talking about
Orange Beach?
Yeah,
like out of nowhere, and I'd left.
Was it around Ono Island?
Yes.
Okay, then that's Floribama Yacht Club.
No, it wasn't Floribama Yacht Club. It was like you got to go out there and then down and then kind of like one of those little inlets out there.
Yeah.
I'll take you there one time. Like it's a marina.
Oh, I've been there.
And it looks like it's like a boat marina.
Was it Pirates Cove?
No, it's not Pirate. We'd been there too that same day. I still got my pirate hat. So I walk in, I look like, oh my God.
Serious boating.
This was a lot of boating. And like, let's do the show. Is it that at that point in life, like everything was shut down in Tuscaloosa? It was just nice to see somebody you recognize.
Oh yeah.
You know? No, I love those guys. And I love Grant and all those guys at Rounders. Like that, just the Tuscaloosa scene is so much fun, man. And talking about Rounders, the last time Bama won the national championship, I go to Tuscaloosa, and this year, if they get to the national championship, I think I'm going. Like I want
Houston's easy from here.
Yeah, it's like 6 hours, 6.5. I'll leave early. Like, you know, you can go with me. We'll leave early. We won't even hit any traffic.
Oh, it'd be easy.
Yeah. Go to the game, come back, right? Anyway, I said, you know, I'd been to all these championship games, right?
Yeah.
The worst, the hardest one was the one we lost to on the pick play to Clemson.
Oh yeah.
That was a heartbreaker. But the rest of them we won, you know? Mm-hmm. And so that one I was like, I'm not going to California. Okay. And I definitely didn't want to deal with COVID restrictions.
If it was in San Diego, it'd be hard to beat that.
I know. I love San Diego.
I love San Diego.
But not Levi's Stadium in the Bay Area, and they didn't even know there was a championship game.
Yeah.
And so
that may be the worst placement of a national championship of all time.
Where was it? You know what? I'm thinking about the one that was the one we lost to Georgia, right? Or maybe no, that was the one we got our ass kicked to Clemson. Yeah. What was the one that the last one that we won? Was that in the Dome? No, it was in Dallas, right? Or where was that?
Trying to think which one it was.
When with Mac Jones and those guys.
Oh, that was in Miami.
Okay. Oh yeah. And I didn't go to
that game.
So I didn't go to that one. Yeah, you did. And you probably tailgated a lot afterwards because you couldn't get out of that parking lot.
Yeah, well, they had I mean, there's nothing was open, so you had to. I mean, they had 4. You had to go in the hotel lobby, and everybody was in there, and there was 4 different bars set up in each corner of the room, but it was a madhouse.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean,
I went to this one.
Protect people from COVID by just boxing them all into one room where everybody's 2 feet apart.
Yeah, it was all that stuff. It could be another show.
Yeah, let's not get started on that.
Yeah, I went to the one with Manti Te'o, Eddie Lacy down there, and I remember like the parking lot was getting in and out of there was a joke. Anyway, so I went to Tuscaloosa, and I watched I did a show from Rounders. I'll never forget this. I did a show from Rounders, a digital show that I think got 72,000 views before the game, which still I think might be my record of digital views. You know what I mean? Like, just set up and did a show at the place I used to work, and then go watch the game, and then afterwards I'm like, I'm gonna make some videos have I told you this before? I'm going to make some like videos on my phone of the party, right? So Rounders is playing like, they just like on the roof, they just start like speakers out.
Wait a second. So is that after this game?
No. After the 2020 one.
Okay.
After this one right here with Smitty and those guys. So it's the only time I was ever in Tuscaloosa for a championship, but I always wanted to do that, right? Because I'm normally wherever the games are, right? And I know Auburn fans, don't hold it against me. We have a lot of them. Okay? I'm not that.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a lot of opportunities to get Tuscaloosa.
I mean, I know. Anyway, so, and I'm not doing it this time. I'm actually going to go back to the game. But so I go and I'm like, they're playing like, the fight song and, Sweet Home Alabama, and this crowd like of people, like it was just like people everywhere. Like I was the first one there because I had seen the videos from it in the past. I'm like, I got to go out here. And I'm like, man, nobody's fucking out here. Like this was a mistake. And then all of a sudden, like game ends or like the last couple seconds. And I look over and it was like, The Walking Dead, man. People are just coming from every direction, like zombies, like walking, and then they just start playing music. It's like, we are the champions, and everybody's cheering. It's crazy. So I start making this video. Like I'm videoing. This guy's like climbed up like those little trees that are out there. Like they're like not even climbing trees, And then I see this one dude, like he's like climbed on the Walgreens, like, that little Walgreens down there. He's like climbed on the roof there. So I videotape him. And I put it on my social media, like, hey, look at this, By the time I woke up in the morning, the video had gone viral. Like thousands of views and retweets and everything. So I get this message from like this company and they're like, can we buy this video from you? Like, well, and I'm like, yeah, you can buy it. Like a year later, I get like a couple $1,000 in the, just like deposit it to me, for that video. But I had tried to post it on my own Facebook and they had like restricted me. And I'm like, I made this video. It's mine. Okay. They were, it was funny. Yeah. It's crazy how quick, like when someone buys the rights to something like that,
how quickly it's enforced.
Yeah. But the next day though, it was like on, Good Morning America and this and that. Like everybody had the video, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't because Alabama won the championship. They had the video and they were playing it all over the world because people weren't wearing masks.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that at the time, Like,
hey, good for you.
Hey, cashed in on that.
If everybody wants to be psychotic about that, at least you can, at least you make a little money on it.
Yeah, that's it. But that's a good bar too, man. Like those guys that Rounders do a good job too. I could see you in the boom boom room, just kind of staying up all night.
I went to Rounders once or twice. It just wasn't my.
It wasn't your bag. you just don't go in there and cut loose in the boom boom room. Vegas style.
No, I'm not fist pumping in Rounders.
Those are two great bars. One of my buddies has taken the him and his one of his partners, they own the old Egan's. It's called Unique now, and they have like all the games on in there and stuff. So there's some spots I go and hang out.
I get Rounders and Gillettes confused as far as the inside goes. I think Rounders is a little bit west of Gillettes, right?
Yeah, Gillettes is. Look, man, I spent my college days in Gillettes. I was a proud KA. I went there a lot. It's like our hangout. And you can't complain about a $2.50 beer. I mean,
no, that's right.
Who's going to say anything about that? Our friend Will is one of the owners with Purdy. I would see him in there, like the DJ and stuff. But does Purdy have some ownership in that? He has to. I think he does. Like somehow, like those guys are just like, the bar entrepreneurs.
Before
why didn't we do that? There. Yeah, why didn't we do that?
I was about
Brass Monkey. We should have bought the Brass
15,
Monkey.
16 years old.
I got there as a bar called the Brass Monkey.
You frequent that one too?
I was there a few times. Nobody even knows that one. There's one called the International Deli.
I feel like I've heard of that
might
one.
have heard that one before. And then the booth, but the booth's back. It just moved. So the
booth closed down.
Well, the one that was on the corner. There was one that was on the corner.
It was behind. When I was there, it was behind Moe's.
That's where it is now.
Okay.
But when I got there, it used to be like on the strip.
Yeah.
Like on the corner.
I used to live across the street in the lofts above that Witch.
Oh yeah, that's a good spot.
You would have thought it would have been a good spot. Loud. Oh my God, yeah.
You didn't like that?
I could not sleep.
Be quiet! Trying to sleep. We got a game tomorrow.
We got Auburn in 2 days, guys.
Knock it off. The Henry. Man, I know that feeling though, man. Like I hear these kids complain now. Like I have interns that I work with and stuff that are complaining about noise. I'm like, man, we used to just sleep right through it back in my day. That's so funny.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My wife and I were dating back in that day, and so it got so out of hand. I was like, Sarah, I'm coming to sleep at your house.
Yeah.
My grandmother-in-law, who listens to this podcast, isn't going to like that. But
well, you're married now. You actually have 2 kids.
Yeah, we got I'm pardoned.
If they would have seen, if she would have seen Christmas morning when Santa Claus brought that pink Jeep. Have you gotten run over by that thing yet? That's a big ass Jeep.
She'd have got ran over just like me.
Thing is, like your kids, like I took our family out to Gambino's down here for dinner. And it's like, the waitress comes up and my son's yelling like, Sprite! Slow down, man. Like comes back like screaming at what he wants. Like, come on, man, slow down. And I could see that lady in the back being like, that kid's terrible, What are you gonna do?
Oh yeah, my daughter, she's got an attitude. I'll be talking to her and telling her to do something. She'll be like,
what's hard is that they have your face. That's the worst part about it too.
She'll be like, man, I get her a little bottle of milk. She'll be like, I told you I wanted a big bottle.
I live with this. I know what you mean. I had one. I don't even think I could tell it on the podcast today. I'm one today, and it was so funny what he said, but it was just so inappropriate for an 11-year-old. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, we don't talk like that. But then that voice in the back of my head was like, when you were 11, you never would have came up with something that good. You know what I mean? You never would have came up with something that freaking funny.
Oh yeah. And my daughter is about to turn 4, and like we'll ride around and shine at deer and just before we go to bed, just to get her ready to go to sleep.
You let her take that shot. All right, honey, he's not moving.
My wife's like,
welcome to the Spotlight on Deer with the Coker family.
My wife's like, how did you knock her out like that? You don't want to know. We'll keep that between me and your father. My father-in-law will be like, sometimes we'll be sitting around the house. Or I think one time he's like, I can't remember exactly how she picked up on it, but she's like, watching her TV, and he's like, yeah, I saw a little ass doe or something like that. And we're riding around and looking at deer at night, and she goes, look at that little ass doe. She calls him Poppy. She's like, Poppy, you see that little ass doe?
Where you get that feeling like you're laughing, but you feel like you're a shitty parent. And I know that because I feel like that all the time. We get the calls from school. Well, I think I told you this one. Well, he's in a little bit of trouble right now. He farted in his hand and threw it on one of his classmates. Like, what the hell?
Well, that's where you're like, I hope he didn't get that from me.
I want it to be like, listen, he doesn't really know how to cup them yet. So,
so consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, right. He's like North Korea when it comes to the nukes. They think they know him, but they don't. They're shooting up rockets.
Willing to fire them off at any point.
Yeah, empty payloads right now. Man, you talk about small world. I guess this is where we're going to run out of time, but I got this text yesterday from Tony Tsoukalis, right? Tony's the beat writer, one of Alabama's beat writers. I used to work with him at Rivals, and I think he's at he's at Rivals again. Like, he left and came back.
Yeah.
It's on a plane, and he's like, "You're not going to believe this." I'm like, "Yeah." I hadn't talked to him in a while. I was like, I was just on a plane with Chris Klein. Chris was in my wedding, and I haven't seen the guy in like 20 years, man. Isn't that crazy? Like, to think, like, he lives he lives in like San Antonio.
Yeah.
But he went to Alabama. I haven't seen him. To think that those guys were on the same flight. And Tony's on his way, I'm sure, out to cover Bama. But just to think that, like,
it's a much smaller world than you think.
Man, that's crazy to me, man.
Much smaller world than you think.
We used to. He lived in this house that was. They tore it down. I think they tore it down. It's over where that new mall is. Yeah, they definitely tore it down. Back like where the Starbucks is and I say new, and everybody's probably like, "Oh, it's been there for 15 years." Where the Best Buy is, and like there's like an apartment and all that. So you know what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Iguana Grill and all that stuff. He used to live there, and we played on the lacrosse team at Alabama together. And he had this dog named Elvis that was a Jack Russell, and we would go on the quad and practice. Just to try to, make new there was really no practicing going on. But the dog would like run and get the balls that we missed and then run back and forth as we were throwing, man. So that's why it's still my favorite dog is a Jack Russell, because when I had one after him. But just to think, like, man, a guy I went to school with that long ago, of all the random shit that ever happens to you, you know what I mean?
No, it's wild. It's wild. I mean, it's crazy, especially like my Alabama and Florida State teammates.
Yeah.
How those guys know each other pretty well. And just a small world. Man. Everybody's got a connection somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, like, if Bama goes to Houston, he lives in San Antonio. Maybe that's just like a sign we got to hook up,
Yeah. Well, San Antonio's kind of a long ass way from Houston, isn't it? I
don't know. I mean, when I was doing Crimson Tide Sports Network, we played in like Corpus Christi, and he came over. I don't know, the girls' kids and stuff. Like, the team was there. Honestly, I think this is the last time. I went there with the Cubs a couple of times too, to Houston. And he came once, maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's too far.
Yeah.
But if
you like Houston,
I don't. You know what, man? I got to tell you,
Houston's not a town I'm
okay, I got a great Houston story.
All right, let's hear it.
So I'm there with the Cubs. This is the last story because we're going to run out of room to be able to do this. So I'm doing the game, like it's a spring training game. I'm doing it with the Cubs, and and buddy, like I went out with. We got there, and it was like we were there for like a Saturday and Sunday. Right? No, a Friday and Saturday. So maybe we got there on Thursday, and we all went to this bar. As soon as it's like the team charter, right? So fly in, and those team charters are probably like what they are like at Alabama. Like, you don't touch your bags. Like, it's like room service at your seat on the plane. Like all the. And anything you want to watch, like it's on the TVs on your plane, like it's crazy. It's not like your normal flight, So we get there and we go out, and there's this International House of Blues that's like right next to the bar we were at, right? So everybody leaves, and then I made some friends, and then we're walking home, and those guys that sing that song, bodies hit the floor. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what song you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. That song though, right? Bodies hit the floor.
Oh yeah.
Right. Their bus is outside. So I'm walking by and we just start talking to those guys.
Was it Rob Zombie?
I don't think it was Rob Zombie, but bodies hit the floor.
Gotta have a creative mind.
Oh,
yeah.
the one guy that was really nice to us had his hair was like shaved bald all the way to here, and then had a ponytail or something. And anyway,
he wasn't a KA at Alabama.
No. No. Next thing I know, I'm on the bus drinking with these guys. Like just hanging out. Like, dude, I mean, like, I don't even know how I got in there. Like, you know, so like hour after hour's going by, we're all just drinking. I'm like, I got to do a game tomorrow. I got to get the F off this bus. I don't want to be rude, you know? Yeah. I got out of there. But yeah.
You imagine going to a concert, wanting to hear that. Just jumping a mosh pit.
Hit the floor. Hit the floor. So like that song pops up on stuff. But I guess like the original lead singer, you know, had it somehow something happened to him. And
yeah.
I don't remember the whole story. I just remember like
they were more pleasant than you thought. Dude,
they looked like they would be like scary people. And then I get on there and I'm like, these are like the softest guys I've ever met. Like they're nice. You know what I mean? Like
where does this come from?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I just would never I mean, like everybody had this like crazy weird look, you know?
Yeah.
And they're just super nice, you know? Like, oh, can I get you another beer? Like, sure. You know, so what's it like broadcasting baseball? Like, you're like trying to get through the fact that the guy looked like he's been in prison for 25 years.
Big old teardrops.
Yeah, like I mean, really, like scary. They weren't though. We were actually cool guys. So that was Houston. So I don't know, man. I got a buddy that's a lawyer there, and across the thing. What is it? The Pines, right? Did I get that right? Is that?
I have no idea. So, I've been there.
The Woodlands. The Woodlands.
Okay,
so the Woodlands.
I've heard of the Woodlands.
So he's like, "Hey, come over, get a cab, come over." Right. Yeah. So this, I don't know. I don't think this was the same trip. I think it was another time I was there. Both times I was with the Cubs. So I get a cab, I get an Uber, and I go over. Right, and it's pretty far from Houston. It's like, you know,
hour and a half.
No, it's not that far, but it's you know, a good 35 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Far enough where when you get there, you can see Houston because there's really not a whole lot in between. It's just flat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so we hang out, we go out to eat, you know, and all this stuff. And I got to get back for the game, right? So I'm like, oh, I like to get there early. So I'm going to get back early, and I get it. I get the Uber coming back. And then all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, there's just like traffic.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's not like traffic like around here traffic. I mean, it's traffic like if you were if you took the Bayway and you multiplied it by about 5 or 10, you know, and you can see everything because it's flat, but Mobile looks really far away and it's just nothing but wall-to-wall cars. And I'm like, man, I'm not gonna make it back for the game. So worried, man. And I mean, we got there, but it was, and I'm watching, dude, and I'm watching that. Like, I'm like, how much is this Uber going to cost me? It was like,
it's like a cab watching the meter.
Oh, dude, it was like, I want to say I probably spent $100 or something on it. I mean, like just, you know, just the time and everything else, but I made it back. So, all right. Well, this was good. I wish we had more time to talk, but
it flies by. How long have we been on?
This is, we're working on 1 hour and 20 right now. Hour and 18. Are we doing another one, or is this it for the bowl game?
Might be good to go for tomorrow. I'm headed out of town, getting ready for big weekend, football weekend. So probably gonna leave tomorrow afternoon. Might get one in before I head on out.
Well, let me know, because I've had people reach out and they're like, "Where would you put on Twitter when you guys are doing your show? Because I hate to miss the show, but we're random." And I'm like, "We are random.
Yeah, we are.
We're very random, but we appreciate." But listen, honestly, man, the compliments that we get on this show, I mean, for both of us, man, I'm really proud of that. Like, it's
fun. It
is
fun.
great.
Like to invite everybody into our minds, I guess.
Like, well, I think a lot of people were like, "Where the fuck's he been?" And now they know you and they like you. Like, you know, I mean, that's the vibe I get. It's like, hey, you know, because people loved you as a football player. Now they know you as, like, you know, the guy that comes in here and gets, you know, harassed by me. And Ryan Anderson,
you know,
too.
It's one of those.
When Rhino's here, it's pretty good, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's one of those. Ryan's kind of the same way. I mean, shit, you know, normal people, I feel like, don't like to be out in the spotlight, let everybody know what they're doing all the time. I'm pretty private, you know, so this is my first stab.
Dipped in here, and we just come right into your brain.
You know, when you can kind of just shoot the shit and have a good time. This is a little different than, you know, taking selfies every time you do anything that's remotely interesting.
Yeah, right. What's the best compliment you've read? Any of them stand out? Because I've read a lot of, you guys have been so kind to us, and it's great to read the stuff because they really love you. Like, you make them laugh and stuff. So that's cool. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what this is kind of all about too, you know, like,
well, I tell you, it's been good for me. Just kind of like, just hang out and just kind of brings that locker room type feel again, you know, which I mean, you know, you get it sometimes here and there at work, but I mean, this is kind of back to just, again, we sit here and, I mean, we got no script, we got no nothing. No. It's just shooting from the hip and having fun.
Yeah.
You know, try to provide a little bit of substance, but for the most part, just, you know, screwing with each other and having fun.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, brother. Well, let's do it tomorrow if you want to. And you guys check this out. Elephant in the Room, Roll Tide Pod's part of Disrupt the Media. Make sure that you go to MyBuc-ee, mybookie.ag. They bring you this show. They sponsor us. And so we want you guys to support them. And if it's the first time that you're, you know, throwing some money down, use the promo code next round, and you get, you know, up to 50%, you know, up to $1,000 price match. So that's cool. And if you need any help, now's the time to get it from Lance's Lock, because if he doesn't provide you a winning bowl season, your money is coming back to you. He's great, though. I would not want that job right now with all the offense, but he's still fantastic.
I'd strictly go playoff, and that's about it.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. For Jake Coker, I'm Mick Gillispie. Roll Tide, everybody.